Hey everyone, welcome to the month of August, the month of training your unbothered muscle, the muscle that is necessary for an epic life experience. I want to first start with an example from my own life, which happened today, and it illustrates perfectly how this whole game is about knowing thyself. Then I will quote from one of Bashar's epic teachings, and then let's see what else wants to be shared. So I had the most lovely, wonderful, easy flowing day, which is still so, but I had a bit of a kink in the cable about 10 minutes ago. So I got up pretty early. It was nice and cool. India, Mysore, where I am right now, can be pretty intense and hot and sticky. And this morning it was really lovely. It was cool. It was early, and I decided to go to a lake. And I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it right. It's Kukurikahali, I believe. I decided to go to the lake with my yoga mat and record something. And then I had the most magical handstand training. I felt like I was being held upside down by the ground and by the sky. It was truly beautiful. So after I went to my favorite cafe, did some eating, was listening to some beautiful Bashar, and I had my first coffee, well, and my only coffee. Then I decided to have a lunch, and it was just a really flowy, nice day. I got some mustard seed oil and some sesame oil because an Ayurvedic massage therapist told me to cover myself in oil twice a week because apparently it's good for your system. So I got the oil, got home, covered myself completely in oil, and then I decided to get my microphone out, my new microphone, to record a video for all of you for the month of August, for the month of Unbothered. Guess what? My new microphone and the charging box and the receiver and everything wasn't in my bag. And I was like, oh my God, no. My mind went first to why is this happening on a day that everything is really flowy and nice? Then I felt sad, and I literally said to myself, why are you doing this to me? Me talking to me, because I know that everything comes from me. So pure victim. Then my mind went to, shit, they stole it out of my bag when I was in the supermarket. I had to leave my bag behind, and I'd never done that before. And then my mind went to, oh, maybe it was the lady that stole it out of my bag while I was petting the cow. And I told myself to calm down. I literally said, calm down, Monique. It's at the organic bakery, which is the cafe that I was at after my handstand training, because I recorded some stuff there. But I was certain that I had put it in my bag and that I had seen it later. And then I realized, wait, everything is now, if I feel the feeling of relief that I have it, I might just have it again. Because mind you, as you can hear, I had been spiraling big time. And so I came into the organic bakery after I quickly showered and got off the oil of my body, right? Because that's also pretty interesting exercise, I can tell you. And so I walked into the organic bakery, asked the guys if they found, they didn't find it. I thought, okay, let's just check if it's upstairs. And At the place that I was sitting this morning, I recently found an earbud. Someone lost their earbud. And I found it and I gave it to the guy behind the counter. So that was also something that flashed through my mind. I thought, I was a good Samaritan doing that. Someone might have given it off for me as well. So I walked upstairs, walked to my place. There was someone sitting there. And I said, "Hey, did you find a pouch?" And he said, "Oh, no." And I was looking and I didn't see it. But then I saw it on his other side. And I like, "Oh, it's there." He's like, "Hey, yes." But the pouch was empty. So my heart sank. But then I looked again and the box with everything in it was next to the pouch. He had completely not seen it. And I trust this guy because of how everything was laying there. And he said to me, "Oh, you were supposed to have it back." The immense relief that I felt when I held it in my hands, the shame I felt for the temper tantrum that I went through, and then immediately the inspiration and the knowing, now I know where my mind wanders off to very clearly. Because as I already said, and as I know you know, the game of life is about knowing thyself. Situations and people will show you who you are. That's it. Anyone and everyone and everything just shows you who you are and what you believe, because as Bashar says, reality is inherently meaningless. You are designed to give it meaning. And the meaning you give it tells you about yourself. It tells you what beliefs you hold, and it tells you which beliefs to ditch. Another beautiful point I want to make with this story is you don't have to be perfect at holding your intention and your vision, because I spiraled big time and I had a short pocket. Let's say I was spiraling for 5 minutes and I had 30 seconds of the feeling of relief of having found my new microphone. So, moral of the story, one amazing heartfelt relief is way stronger than a lot of spiraling. Okay, so Bashar, he says this. First of all, he speaks to the ego, that we have to have an ego to function in physical reality. That's also exactly what Seth says. It is not about the ego being a bad thing. It is that we have to balance the ego. So here are the steps to unbotheredness according to Bashar, and how you can master your emotions. And why do you want to master your emotions? Because you cannot perceive what you are not the vibration of, and your emotions, your feelings, your mood determine your vibration, your state of being. So if you want to alter your life experience, you have to know why you are in a certain mood and how you can alter it and then vibrate in that new frequency, which will automatically happen because you drop all the bullshit that is not true, but you believe it's true at the moment. Okay, so there are a couple of steps. First, Bashar says, acknowledge the feeling you're having, never deny it, never gloss it over, never push it down. You have to own it, because we cannot change what we don't own. And once you own it, and you can own it by narrating the experience. Like you can say, okay, I'm reacting in a negative way. I'm reacting angry. I'm reacting jealous. I'm reacting whatever way you're reacting. And you accept that you're reacting that way because you can be triggered and you can also be aware that you're triggered. So when you accept it, when you own it, and you say to yourself and you realize that's the choice I'm making, which is the second step, recognizing that it is a choice, then you can shift it. So the thing is, it is about paying attention to what you're doing and realizing what the choice is based on, because your reaction is not random. Also, not everyone reacts the same way to a situation because everyone has different beliefs. Reality is inherently meaningless, which I also learned through Bashar. We are designed to give it meaning. And that's why Neville Goddard says just be indifferent about things. Be indifferent because it's easy to shift states where you're indifferent. And another word for indifference is unbothered. So the choice you make, the reaction, the trigger that you make, it is based on your beliefs, your definitions, and what you believe is true in this moment. And this is probably coming from your childhood. So what you believe is true about yourself in comparison to the situation you're in, that is what tells you what is going on deep down. Because you believe something about yourself relative to the situation. And because you believe it and you have an emotional response, means you have a definition. Like emotion cannot exist in a vacuum. Emotional response is always in reaction to an idea, to a thought, to a perspective, to a definition. So I got really intensely triggered by having thought I had lost my brand new microphone. Well, kind of. Like, I think it's 2 weeks old. I got extremely triggered. Why? Because I thought it was happening to me, that I was being punished somehow. I had a really wonderful day today, and then the day has to be like my wonderful day has to be interrupted by me losing my brand new mic, which I am a lot attached to, and thinking that I'd been effed over by people in the supermarket or the lady in the streets. And oh my goodness, man, the places my mind went. What does it tell me? It tells me a few really interesting things because I know this. And you know how I know this, where I know this from? Because I grew up this way with a parent that had these definitions. So I copied the baggage of my caretaker. And now that I'd seen it, it's like clear as day. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. That is not me. That is not me. And I don't want it. And that's how it becomes easy to drop it, because Bashar also says once you see a belief, once you see it, you can drop it. It doesn't need to be there anymore, except if I choose. And that's why awareness is key. Because when you go unconscious, when you're not aware, then you will just keep being triggered by things that you said that you would not get triggered about anymore. And it might happen. It might happen again for a split second that this happens. I'm not in this game, and hopefully you aren't too. I'm not in this game of life to be perfect. I'm in this game of life to get better at catching myself when I go unconscious, and then being lighthearted and easy about it when it happens. Because, dudes, I also had to chuckle after I realized that I went down this really interesting rabbit hole of woe is me, F my life. And then having that thing back and feeling like a really big moron, but I also thought it was pretty funny. It's not that serious. This is all about me learning about me. Unbotheredness is not necessarily about not getting triggered because we will have triggers. And for some people, it's with losing things, like in this case with me. With other people, it's like this really big deal when someone says, well, I think you're not right. It all depends on what did you copy from caretakers? What was happening in your childhood that you made mean something intense? And what is being shown right now? Because things that we don't solve, they just keep being active within us, and life will keep showing us circumstances. Peter Crone says it like so: life will present to you people, situations, circumstances to reveal where you are not yet free. So it's all information continuously. The guy you're dating, the woman you're dating, the money that still isn't there, or the money that is flowing out of your pocket way harder than you actually wanted to. Like, all of these things are just circumstances and situations. And as Bashar says, circumstances don't matter, only state of being matters. And mind you, the behavior of someone is a circumstance. How your body looks is a circumstance. What's happening in your bank account or in your wallet is a circumstance. How someone behaves in traffic is a circumstance. How your health is a circumstance. I was thinking about this example the other day. When you have a pen that writes blue, that's the inherent quality of that pen. You don't get extremely angry with the pen for writing blue because you have a blue pen in your hand. In like manner, when you have a vibration within you that's blue and the output is blue, we do get really feisty and angry and triggered. And we're like, yeah, but I want red. I want kindness and passion and adoration. But when you have a life in you, I'm not worthy, they don't like me, they ignore me, which is just the color of your vibration. It is either a blue pen, a red pen, a green pen, a pink pen. Then you do get angry and frustrated and all of the things. So, to reiterate, understand that your reaction is a choice. The choice is based on your perspective. It is not inherently true, it is your perspective. And with that, you can now work because it's not in the situation, it is not in the other person. The situation and the person is telling you who you are. As Neville Goddard says, let the world show you who you are. You are not at fault. No, no, no. You are responsible. And you are not a victim. You are a creator. So create better than the best. And before you can create better than the best, you have to know what you're creating by default. This is it for today. A fit mind, it creates a beautiful body and an epic life. I will see you in the next video tomorrow.